On May 8, 2026, Trump administration released and disclosed the UFO file. I actually made a video about 3 months ago prior of this recording video. I made a video on Epstein File Released, actually. And towards the end, I talk about Epstein File Release was a test run to see how we react and how the public will take this type of disclosure. I stated the next release is going to be UFO and then time traveling. So I just want to share with you guys, and this is like the follow-up video on that. I don't call this as prediction per se. It's more of the frequency alignment, energy alignment. And why is that? Is because, as we know, 2026 has been very chaotic actually since 2025. The reason being is because we are experiencing a shift. Our planet is undergoing a shift. There are people that awaken and they are in a higher frequency, and they are people are actually in the middle and probably start experiencing the awakening or start ask question about reality, about our government. And of course, they are large a group of people are still asleep. I'm not here to judge or make any comments, but that's the reality in my timeline right now. What happened is when we have different group of people with different frequencies and vibrations, and we experience reality as a collected consciousness, that we will have this mix of everything happens all at once. Everything is like a timeline crossover. This UFO disclosure, some people might call it's a distraction. It's a distraction for the Middle East world. It's a distraction for the high price gas. However, my question for you is, if everything that occurs, even Epstein file, is distraction, then what are they trying to distract us from? Have you ever questioned that? What are the real, quote-unquote, event they are trying to distract us from? And what I learned by downloading messages, if you want to call it channeling, is that there's a spiritual consciousness war behind the scene that we are not aware of yet. The war, it seems like it's not a war. That's why we don't sense it, we don't feel it, but that's what's happening. Everything that's throwing at us or everything that happens all at once is try to lower our frequencies and vibration so we don't have more people waking up and to realize what's going on. But essentially, we have a secret war behind the scene. UFO disclosure, it's not what you think, because I also made another video on outer space and where we actually live on this quote-unquote Earth. I'll put a link in the description. You guys can check it out after you watch this video. So what happened was, the message that I received, I made a video about, is there's no outer space. Everything is illusion. We are living under a dome on a flat disk, okay? We're not on a spinning ball, nor there's any other planets, okay? The universe is within us, and we're not going to the Mars. We didn't put any satellite or any astronaut outer space, okay? If you watch closely, when we have a rocket launch, you always gonna see it's going this way, right? In a curve, because let's say we're going to the outer space, it should be going upward, right? Directly upward, but it's not, okay? So everything is illusion, or if you want to call it, it's a lie. So what's I am seeing, or message I got, or if you want to call it theory, is there's no outer space, so there's no quote unquote aliens or UFO. I also learned about actually the gray beings is actually AI plus robot, and that's what we call the gray. AI plus robot with the consciousness. And these entities are not from outer space, they are not aliens, they are actually high tech technology that are already living in a different frequency. That's why we can see it. Okay? And it's not outer space like I mentioned. So these entities operate with consciousness. Okay? Like our body, if you want to say, because our consciousness is the only reality, and without our consciousness, this body, okay, this earth, I call it earth, will not be surviving, will not be experiencing, will consider death, right? So that goes the same way as those gray aliens, we call it. They are operating with the consciousness. So they are just like a body, or they call it container. Okay, so if we understand this part, then we put this same logic onto UFO, the unidentified flying object, or they call it UAP these days, but it's the same thing. So there's flying object on the sky. In the quantum physics, everything we see or observe before we consent to be true, it's all a wavelength with the infinite possibility. And there's no matter. The matter is consciousness and subconsciousness with our five senses that we generate in our mind, our brain, that projecting from our eyes. That's why we make it as the reality that we are actually watching or observing. Okay, that's what we call the reality, but it's not solid, it's illusion, it's a simulation, it's a hologram. So that being said, if we see UFO on the sky, that will be the same thing. There's no matter, there's no solid matter that we can touch. It's all coming from our mind, projecting from our eyes. So the UFO, the UAP, it's actually a projection of our collective consciousness, okay? Or some are individual consciousness as well, just like what I mentioned earlier about alien, the great entity. They also operates in the consciousness. So those UAP, UFO, there's nobody operating, physical operator, if you want to call it, or physical pilot, if you want to call it. Okay. And of course, they tell us when the Roswell crash and they found gray and there's a body, again, it's all coming from the consciousness. And what I actually channel and receive the message is that those UFO actually are time machines. We call it time machines. But what they really are operate in a different frequency. That's why we cannot see it, or some people can see it and then they zigzag so fast, right? They are not operating in the physics that we quote unquote understand here on quote unquote Earth. Okay? So there's no alien, there's no UAP or UFO, it's all consciousness. You might ask me, where's the proof? Okay, where's the evidence with all this thing? Because people are going to think I am probably crazy or nuts. But the reason I know all these information is because I somehow able to tap into those frequency, those dimensions, and I somehow got all these information from it. If you want to have some reference to what I said, you can check CIA disclosure file, especially the gateways. Or maybe you can search something like Looking Glass. Those projects, Blue Beam Project, I forgot the name, but you can look into CIA projects. Okay? When you do your research, you're going to find, surprisingly, these CIA agents are actually not focused on technology or weapons. Do you know what they focus on? Consciousness, remote viewing, reincarnations. Okay? Strange, isn't it? So that will tell you something. There might be something that they know we don't know yet about consciousness. Okay, so our consciousness is our reality, and everything we see in front of us, it's all made up from the consciousness projecting out as a hologram, simulation, whichever label you want to call it. But essentially, it's all the same. Okay, so this UFO disclosure, or even the new virus, the Hantavirus, is all a distraction. Okay, and the next disclosure that's coming up, I think the sequence will be, the next one will be the first contact. That's another topic that I can talk about next time, because if there's no alien, there's no UAP, it's all from our consciousness, then what does that mean by first contact? Okay, and then after that thing, before 2028, they're going to disclose quote-unquote time machine. All right, so I'll make more video towards those topics, but for now I just want to do a follow-up video, and I just want to let you guys know what message that I receive on UAP, UFO, and all these distractions are mainly including the war in the Middle East, the gas price, all the inflations, all the distraction is to put us in the fear state, in the lower vibration and frequency, so we are stay asleep. So that way, we're not going to be awakened to realize our power, to realize who we are, to understand we are eternal beings, that we are currently experiencing as a human. So if you enjoy this type of content, and if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe, and I really appreciate you. We need these type of message to go out more people, to awaken more people, so we can collectively shift to a 5D reality. Okay, so thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.